Father God, Lord Jesus, and Holy Spirit, we thank you for this time and this place and the work before us. We pray that our thoughts, our words, and our decisions will honor this community and be pleasing in your sight. We ask your divine guidance in this meeting and every decision we make tonight. Amen.
Adam, are there any changes to the agenda for tonight?
I don't have any changes.
I have a motion to approve the agenda as written then. Motion by Billy Barnesfield, a second, please.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the February meeting? And are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 2026 meeting? So moved by Cisco. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Wheeler. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. At this time of the meeting, we have a chance for those in the audience who wish to address the Planning and Zoning Board to come to the microphone. We just ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less and give your name and address when you come up. Are there anybody that wish to address the Planning and Zoning Board? Everybody's shy tonight, huh? Okay. Well, seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public forum?
So move.
Have a motion by Mayor Tennant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Barnesfield. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Public forum is closed. We're now ready for item number 4. Cedarside at Dry Creek, Phase 1, request reduction and 1-year extension on the project performance bond. Adam?
All right. This is the second part of this project. If you've been down that area, Dry Creek Road, the Phase 1 on Dry Creek, or Phase 2, these are backwards. Phase 2 practically finished. Phase 1 is the one on Robert Cartwright, but this is a community of townhomes. It's kind of as you see, they've just started the unit construction. They got 3 buildings complete, and they've just started a handful more. They went in, of course, all the roads, the rough layer of asphalt and curbs and stuff are in. The current bond is $285,000. Remaining improvements, final asphalt, some site finish grading, landscaping, some sections of sidewalk. Based on the original cost estimates, I did some inflationary additions, and about $225,000 would be the estimate for the remaining cost improvements. Plus, we always had for inflationary figures. And I always keep a portion of the roadway binder and curb that are already put in, for possible damages. So motion options, we could extend the approval of the bond at the current bond amount of $285,600. The developer has requested we reduce the bond to $238,000 based on the project work completed. My recommendation would be to honor some of the work they have completed, but add 2.5% increase to that. So recommendation at $242,760, a 1-year extension. Or 3, we could do another amount as determined by the Planning Commission.
Are there any questions for Adam? Staff recommends approving a 1-year extension in the amount of $242,760. That's number 2 on the motion options. Do I have a motion from the board on any of these options?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve a 1-year bond extension. Requested bond amount of $242,000 per staff recommendation.
I have a motion to increase the bond to $242,000 for 1 year. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Barnesfield. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. I'm sorry, that is right. $242,760 will be what the motion and second was for. Any further comments? All those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5. Request recommendation to the City Commission to rezone the 7.4 acre property on Springfield Highway from CPUDL to CG Commercial General. Adam?
All right, the property's 7.4 acres, and it's actually, there's a little section of commercial plan unit development and commercial plan unit development limited. These zone districts, been around for a while. There's no master plan associated with them. So I know it's tricky with a plan unit development not to have a master plan, but the request is to go to CG. As you can see, the different properties in the area, behind this, it's outside of our city limits, but it's Davidson County. That's the, if y'all know the area, that's the industrial park there. That's in Metro, is zoned industrial restrictive. Below this property, coming down Springfield Highway, zone CG commercial. We got our plan unit development zonings here. Actually got still some ag zoning in the area here. Adjacent property zone districts, we got commercial plan unit development, vacant properties, and residential homes across Springfield Highway there. Ag, we do have some agricultural zone districts where there's some homes on it. CG General Commercial, below this property, we got a landscaping and a stonemason, got contractor, like a storage yard kind of facility, different buildings of that nature as you go down Springfield Highway. And then the Metro IR industrial restricted behind us there. Comprehensive land use plan designation is commercial corridor. We have a revision in there. The general commercial would be the zoning district on Springfield Highway north of the Louisville Highway overpass, which would be this area, and sections of Louisville Highway north of the interstate interchange. So our comprehensive plan looked at this area, and that was one of the areas we felt like we could justify more of the commercial general. The commercial general is going to be your more full-scale commercial. Allows like someone to do car lots, they do full-blown commercial warehousing, all those uses. The commercial plan you limit is going to be more your office, retail, and kind of medical offices and like stores and personal services like hair salons and stuff. This is a drawing they submitted with it. I always caution that, you know, when we rezone a piece of property to a base commercial zone, it could be anything in that district, but this is what they're wanting to do. This is the reason for it. They're wanting to build their office, like a caulking business, and also their warehouse. The warehouse would not be permitted in the zone district. The office would, so that's why we're looking at changing it to a district or zone district that allow their use. Motion options, we could recommend the City Commission approval of the commercial general zone district based on the Planning Commission determination that the proposal is in compliance with the city's comprehensive plan. That'd be my recommendation. 2, we could recommend the City Commission denial and maintain the current zone district if we determine that the proposal is not in compliance with our comprehensive plan. Or 3, we could defer it to include additional information by the Planning Commission.
Okay, is there anybody here representing this item? If you would, come to the front. Let us know your name, please.
Name is Benjamin Hawk.
I'm sorry, what?
Benjamin Hawk
Okay,
with Paige Dawson.
okay.
My name is Wesley Green
All right.
with ABG Caulking.
And you heard Adam's comments. You need to add anything to that?
No, it's pretty much what we're looking for. The biggest constraint for the site was the CPUDL only allowed for mini warehousing, but you know, for our business needs, we're trying to, you know, it's needed for the business to be able to bring in supplies, materials for its operating business. Performs a lot of caulking type work.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, it's ABG Caulking Contractors, been around since 1970. We've got 5 locations around the southeast, and we're working right now about 125 just from this area, and we would like to really try to grow this, you know, and we're at a point right now where we're out of parking, we're out of space in our office, and really for us to expand in the growth that we see out there, we work all over the United States. It's just not just in the southeast. I mean, we're kind of scattered out all over the United States. And our growth has really been very effective for ABG over the last few years, and we continue to grow. And we want to get some new employees in this office, and not just in the office, but also out there in the field. It's very challenging right now to get out there and be effective in hiring for our business. And we've got to find a way to create better environments and more parking for our staff and for the employees with our business to be able to grow our business. And this would give us a good way to help us grow, you know. So, yeah, I would love to see this come to fruition. I know it's been in the works for many, many years. You know, I think one of the biggest challenges with this property that's always talked about is the sewer. You know, that's not something we've always been talking about, but I think we can get around that this time. I think we can get over that, you know, kind of because we're just at a point right now where we have to grow if we're going to continue, you know, to grow. Or we're going to stay where we're at and just continue doing what we're doing, so.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Staff has recommended approval, that we approve a CG zoning for this property. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mayor Tennant to approve to CG zoning. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Barnesfield. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. It passes. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Item number 6, Rose Hill Park requests preliminary subdivision plat construction plan for approval for 3 residential lots and roadway cul-de-sac constructions on 2.87 acres at the end of Rose Hill Drive and 1 residential lot at the end of Harris Drive. Is there anybody here representing this property? If you would state your name, then we'll turn it over to Adam.
Brian Hamilton with Nashville Civil, here with the architect of the project, and I believe we have owner representation also.
Okay. Adam?
Remember last month this was deferred. They made several changes to the plans requested. I'll just go through a quick summary. I know we talked about this in detail. We're still waiting. They'll have to go through a TDEC approval like we talked about for some grading and the buffer areas, which they kind of talked to TDEC and felt like the circumstances would work, so we're just waiting to see on that. The plans, we'll just need to have update to show our city details like road standards. There's a road cross-section in there, but it doesn't meet the same as our city. And then also, I have good news. They wanted to do this as a public right-of-way and a public street instead of a private on the cul-de-sac. I think long-term, that'll be best for everybody involved. But we will request like a light down here at the end of the cul-de-sac. And what they do, NES has a manual you go through, and you pick a light fixture. Assume this has overhead utilities, so it'll be probably a standard light pole light, but we will need to make sure that's something they reference that they will include. If you remember, we talked about this back in '24 actually also. Rose Hill Drive has roughly a 18% slope coming down the back. If y'all have been back there, you know the slope I'm talking about. The city requires new streets to be 10% grade, and our cul-de-sac is 5%. Unfortunately, to try to tie an 18% slope into a 5 to 10% slope, I don't think you actually maneuver it. So they did reduce the slope in the cul-de-sac down to 13.5%. I think that's the number. I know this is hard to see. They call these super elevations. It's not really that steep, but that's just to show the slope of it. But this review is going forward with a variance to our street standards on the slopes. Just due to the limitations to get that slope. And then, the key was, you don't want to unfortunately make the road unusable, but also the goal is not to have the driveways, to build the road up. The driveways would not have been even where you could access them. I think the driveways are already well over 10% slope, so they're already got limitations to it, but But we did talk about this in 24, the understanding that there would be road issues, and we kind of accept slope, but they did decrease some of the slope in the cul-de-sac. Lot 4, originally, Lot 4 was talked about being a possible home lot going forward. I think last month we talked about it being open space. So some of the plans didn't show Lot 4. This one did, so we just want to make sure we know exactly what Lot 4 would be. It's something that if they want to make it a residential lot, definitely they can, based on the zoning, zoned R10. But we just need to know up front what that proposal is. Because what it is, we'll need to make sure there's so much property area in each lot. Right now, they're well within those ranges, but we just want to make sure what the purpose of Lot 4 is. I did say they have decided to go to a public cul-de-sac, which is great. It's a 96-foot paved radius, and there's a curb on it. So we have requested the public right-of-way at least cover the curb area. So they're going to have to alter that some, so there will be a little more right-of-way there, because we want our public right-of-way at least go to the edge of the curb. Generally, you want to go behind curb if we ever have to do any maintenance. The homes, if you remember last month, they look great. They're not, I guess you call them a duplex, but they're really not a duplex, what their intention is going forward, but they function 2 units on 1 lot in this zone district. They really have nice-looking architecture. We did require 50% brick or stone when this thing was originally approved, and they're well over that on this, but I just wanted to note that would be the minimum they have to do. But they really nice-looking buildings. The garages are in the back. One, because of the slope of the property, they do have the rear-loaded garages. But it gives them a lot of room, too, off the street for parking. Staff stipulations, 1, attain the TDEC approvals like we talked about in the stream buffer alteration. 2, our city consultant engineer has some remaining items that we've sent them. They need to get that and any city staff review comments prior to us issuing a land disturbance permit on it. So the goal was, if they got this approval tonight, then they would meet with staff, our consultant engineer, and before we could issue that permit, we need to make sure this stuff's clear. The full plan details, we need, all our city road standards, cross sections, we want those on the plans. Lot dimensions, fully dimensioned, especially since we're altering some to put the cul-de-sac right away on it. Whatever we're going to do with Lot 4, if the goal is for Lot 4 to possibly be a buildable lot, we need to define that. Or if it's supposed to be open space for the other 3 properties, we need to define that before we do any kind of final subdivision plats with it. Some question about some utility and drainage easements, and there's still some question about the stormwater facility design. They revised the design to move it out of the buffer area on the lower stream. So there's some question about the calculations on that. And we just need detail on the cul-de-sac street light, what they're going to go with there per the NES manual. Some motion options, we could approve the plans with these defined stipulations. Like I said, we would not be able to issue any permit until these things are wrapped up. This construction plan approval is including the subdivision, street, and cul-de-sac slope variances like we talked about. That'd be my recommendation. 2, we could deny the plans and define what needs to be done. Since this is a base zone, they have vested rights in this property. What needs to be done to make the construction plans where it's something the board feels like could be approved, or for we could defer the request, give them kind of the guidelines we're looking for to make changes to the plans. They have made a lot of changes since the last go-around, a lot better shape, but there are some handful of things left. It's a tough piece of property. I think it's a nice layout. The buildings look great, but unfortunately, we do have the challenge with the street slope. So.
Okay, Brian? Yeah.
Thank
Do you have anything to add to what Adam just said?
No, we have the conditions or the comments. We have no problem with any of those. The first item there was TDEC approval, and we're minutes or days away. Spoke with TDEC today. They could have that by the end of the week. And we're working with TDEC, and a colleague of ours is working with the state biologist. So the road drainage from Rose Hill Drive currently could go straight into the salamander stream, I call it, because it doesn't have a name, but it's to the north. So we're gonna divert that water from Rose Hill Drive to not go into the salamander stream. So that's gonna help conditions. So TDEC is on board for that with the recommendation from the state biologist. So that should be fine. All other comments we have no problems with.
Okay, I remember last month we were close, but had some has some concerns. So I'll turn this over to the board for any questions or comments.
Mr. Chairman, I think I saw in the notes where we talked about the buffers. Yes. Can you explain that a little bit? Because what I thought we were going with, and maybe it's changed a little bit.
Yeah, so there's a 30 and a 60-foot buffer. So both Mansker Creek, I don't consider it the creek, it's tributary to, I guess. They both have the 60-foot buffer. So on that, towards our east, I guess, we've acknowledged, so down to our south, we're 120 feet away from that buffer. And then it reduces down so we could have that pond, and it's right at 60 feet. So the average of the 60 is there. What we'll have forever is a 30-foot. There's nothing in the 30-foot buffer, only grass on both streams. So there was a lot of non-native vegetation to the north, privet and Japanese honeysuckle. So that's going to be removed, and then we're going to replace that with native vegetation, and then take that Rose Hill road drainage out of that. So I guess with what I consider equivalent measures, we are allowed to disturb the buffer more with the offset of the native vegetation.
The utilities to the 3 different dwellings,
Yes.
will those be overhead or underground?
The NES, whatever they want to do. I guess,
It's just a question.
yeah, we could go underground with those.
Typically, they'd probably set a pole here, probably, and go underground
And
with
feed
it.
off of it from that point.
Yeah, you're saying right there?
Or
with the-
somewhere, they would want to set
yeah.
a pole, and, because I know it's overhead along Rose Hill, if I remember right.
Correct, yes, you're right.
So typically they'll want to set a pole. If we ask for it to be underground, like I said, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but
Yeah. I think
this isn't really under our design standards, so it's not really, it's like a planning development, but they could do a pole and go underground to the homes, yeah. As quality the homes are, I would assume
That's
that's
what
what
I
they'd
would
want to
think
do,
so,
so.
Like I said, it was just a question.
Yeah, I believe the number of units, if it goes above this, then it all goes underground, but we'll work that out.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll entertain a motion. If you'll go back to the stipulations, Adam. Adam, the staff has recommended approval of this construction plan with stipulations. So we'll need to, if we do make a motion for approval, we'll need to add the stipulations and the other stipulations you might want to add. So do I have a motion?
2 units on one building.
All right, Ms. Wheeler has made a motion for approval of the construction plans with stipulations, all stipulations that staff has recommended. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Tennant. Are there any further questions or comments? All those in favor of approval with stipulations, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, we're now ready for item number 7, the last agenda item.
All right, this is a unique request for us. In December of last year, we adopted a new comprehensive land use plan. we talked a lot during that process about high density. That was one of the reasons for this. We identified 10 properties in the city that are currently zoned high density that are vacant. 4 of those properties have plans, they have by state law vested rights. Either they got plans current, hadn't, of course, none have started yet. They got recorded properties, just various ways that they were treated differently. So they were basically put to the side and kind of left as is because of their status. But there were left 6 properties zoned high-density residential that are vacant. The city commission requested us to give a recommendation to. The city commission didn't say they wanted to rezone it. They just wanted us to give a recommendation how we felt about the high-density zoning. If there are other zoning districts, it would be better if the high density remains. They just wanted a recommendation on these 6 properties. So start off here, I'll do the zoning map, kind of outline the 6 properties, and I'll go through each of them details. Number 1, it's on the east side of I-65, kind of where 386 bless off Altaloma. There's a long sliver of property. It's got, I think, a cell tower and a billboard on it that's zoned high-density residential. Number 2 is down on Monticello and West Monticello. The new National State Tech is on the other side of the railroad tracks down there on Gallatin Road, and the property is along the railroad tracks there. That's property 2. Property 3 is on Dry Creek Road. Here's Dickerson Road, so it's between Dickerson and I-65. There's a commercial business on the corner. It's like apartments that are one level. Then there's the vacant piece of property number 3. Then there's a little community next to it, a neighborhood. These are all zoned high-density residential. And number 4 is on the other side of Dry Creek Road. There's a corner lot up there that's zoned commercial. It's vacant. And then there's the property here. The property right next to it is one of the vested projects for townhomes. Dry Creek Commons, they're built on top of the hill. This is the next part of it. So we didn't include it because, like I said, it has current vested plans. Number 5 is a 31-acre property on Old Dickerson and Dry Creek. It was part of the Dry Creek Farms 2003 master plan when all that was rezoned high density. And number 6 is a property on 1211 South Dickerson, right next to the Dollar General. In 2002, we rezoned the front of the property. The back of the property. The front remains commercial services. The back 5 acres of the property was zoned high density for 75 units. Its vested rights expired recently, so that's why it was included in here. Like I said, we amend our comprehensive plan, so that's what all this was about. And our comprehensive plan, all these properties are considered residential neighborhood preservation. The neighborhood residential preservation was an area really to kind of protect the existing neighborhoods, either due to the properties being developed, or if any vacant property are generally consistent with the density and design of adjacent areas. So the goal was anything vacant in these areas be consistent with the density design. We wanted the whole deal was preserving these neighborhoods, how they look and how they feel. All right, property 1, a little more detail on it. It is 6.69 acres. Here it is in green. Here's I-65. This is the Cobblestone community, if you're aware of that townhomes community. So it's between the townhouse community and I-65. Like I said, it's long and narrow. It's got a drive that goes through it that accesses the billboards and the cell tower. Property zoning, high density, comprehensive plan, they're all the same. It's all going to be the neighborhood preservation. The surrounding zoning districts, you got high density for Cobblestone, Rivergate, I think it's Rivergate Acres apartments here. Those are all high density. You got some residential zoning, R25 along Altaloma and the frontage properties there. Surrounding uses, you got townhomes, apartments, I-65, the billboard, and the cell tower. There's no master plan on this property. The Planning Commission previously, an adjacent 3-acre property, there was a request to do a commercial zoning on that, and that was denied. So that one's R25. It was a previous request. So possible zone districts, if we look at rezoning, maintain the existing high density, or possibly R25, which is the zone district adjacent to it. Staff recommendation would be to maintain the current zoning, just due to the surrounding uses. And it's a very difficult piece of property, but if something was ever built on it, that would also be a good use for it. But that'd be the first one. So what I'll do, I'll go through these individually, and at the end, we'll talk about them. And we can choose to look at one rezone, or all of them rezone, or leave them all alone. So, property number 2, 5.92 acres at West Monticello and Monticello. The big issues here surrounding I call them the Thomas Jefferson, that's what the street names, the townhome community here. Here's Gateway Elementary School. We got the Nashville State Tech, the new building here. This is all metro zoning around us. They've got neighborhood, community, mobile home park, all in the vicinity there. Project master plan, there's no master plan associated with this. Staff recommended zone district be to maintain the high density. Zone district options, we could do the high density or possible R15. R15 is what we have on the surrounding properties. Problem is this property has limited road frontage, so R15 is really going to limit it just a handful of lots on it. That's just a road frontage of
Was
it.
that on the very edge of our,
That's the last property in the city down there,
that's the
yeah.
last property on the city?
Right by the railroad tracks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because our city limits, the pink areas or the purple, that's some of Metro's zone districts. So yeah, we go this side of the railroad tracks and up. Property 3, 5.9 acres on Old Dry Creek Road. There's no address of it. Surrounding uses, you have, like I said, the neighborhood here, the one-level apartments here. Of course, you got townhomes across the street. We got a project here that is vested. The master plan on this thing is Old Rivergate Acres. I couldn't really find a good picture to put on here of what it is. But there is some limited floodplain on the property. There's some creeks that go through it. So it's another challenging piece of property. Recommended zone district, I've maintained the high density just because it's surrounded on 3 sides by high density. I really think that kind of limited options with that one, I'm afraid. Because I think to try to do R15 in between this is basically going to limit the use of the property. There's just a road frontage of it, it's just a vacant property. It does have the creek that goes through it in a section, limited section of floodplain. Our Stableman Dry Creek Road, property number 4 is 2.5 acres. It's on the south side of Dry Creek Road. Surrounding uses are similar to what we just talked about, high density. You got commercial vacant lot on the corner, commercial zoning here. It does have floodplain in the back and floodway. There is no master plan with this. I could see either staff recommended would be to maintain the high density. I think the options here we would have high density or possible extension of commercial, because that corner lot is commercial there. Just the road frontage of it. Property number 5, it's 31 acres on Dry Creek Road. It's on separate slides, it's so big. Surrounding zoning districts, you got high density, which is part of the Dry Creek Farms, all down Dry Creek Road, Robert Cartwright, all that's high density. Low density plan unit development, Echo Hills, you know that's on Campbell, it backs up to the property. You'll see it in a minute on the slide. We got commercial services in the area and agricultural zoning also. Project master plan, it does have one, the 2003 Dry Creek Farms master plan. It was set up for 72 condo units and 6 residential lots. Staff recommends zone district. We could do high density or a possible medium density. I have talked to the owner there and looks at it possibly rezone this to medium density for homes. Medium density would allow, it's a little tricky here, that it would allow up to 90 units on it because it's 3 units an acre. So the current master plan, even though it's high density, it limits the number of units to 72 condos and 6 lots. So going to medium density, they ask if that'd be a possibility, but do all homes, but it would be between 80 to 90 units on it. Zoning district options, I think we do have options on this one, high density, medium density, or the low density, or even R25. All right, so let's look at this property. Here it goes, Dry Creek Road, Old Dickerson, so it's a big piece of property. Here's Robert Cartwright area, Ivy Hill. This is back at Echo Hills. And across the street here is out of our city limits, that's metro jurisdiction. Got some elevation to it along the Old Dickerson there. Here is the original 2003 master plan. As you can see, it had room for 6 large lots due to the kind of this, you see there's some serious elevation on it. And then this was the 72 condos here. This plan, you know, it was the zoning that defined the zoning for the whole master planned area out there. You know, it's expired, but the city has never rezoned it to anything other than to keep the current. I have a lot of conversations about this property. There's some possible interest in this developing here recently. Property number 6, 1211 South Dickerson Road. It's roughly a 7-acre piece of property. The frontage, when we rezoned this in 2022, it remained commercial services. So the front of the property is still commercial services. That hadn't changed. The big area, the 5 acres in the back, was zoned high density. Surrounding zone districts, we have high density, Robert Cartwright. Of course, behind it right now, the Dickerson Road, Old Dickerson property we just talked about. And then you got more commercial uses along the front. And Echo Hills is low density planned unit development. The Dollar General Market is right there. So staff recommends zoning. I recommend keeping the high density. The property in the back, if y'all have seen these properties, they're very steep. Commercial would be tough. You know, an option is only all commercial services, kind of like we did south of it. But the property is rather steep, so the possible uses on it are more limited than if it was the high density. There's the Dollar General I can see coming in. Yes, yeah. Here's the master plan on it originally. You had a commercial building in the front and then the 75 apartment units in the back. Just some images to include with it. Again, here's the zoning map to show these properties. This area, this color here is high density. This is part of the Dry Creek Farms master plan, all this area here, and also the areas there we saw. The red is R25s. So I mentioned where R25 is a possibility on some of these properties. And then the commercial is going to be your blue area here, and that's your low density planned unit development. That's Echo Hills there. R15 is all your Gateway. That's all R15, and this is all commercial here. This is Rivergate Parkway. They call it Birdland, Meadow Arc, all that area. So options. Like I said, the City Commission requested we review these properties. The Planning Commission can recommend to the City Commission. We've got several different things. We could take each 6 individual properties individually, do different, you know, some of them we want to keep high density, some of them we think would be maybe a medium density or more commercial. We could give them that recommendation. But they asked for something formal, like what do we think is the best, you know, zoning for the property. Or we could recommend the city to maintain the existing high density zone districts, either on all of them or certain ones, or we could defer if there's additional information requested by the Planning Commission.
Are there any property owners for these specific properties here tonight? Oh, you want to come to the front?
I'm one of the property owners as well.
Or you actually own one of these properties?
Number 4.
Number 4? Okay.
I own James Simpson, and I own half with Sam Tenen. And it was just something that my father and Mr. Tenen purchased years ago, and it's just, you know, kind of as a speculation that it, you know, one day it might, you know, be worth something. It's got some, I think some TVA lines that run across it, and the backside's in the floodplain, but like I said, we're just holding on to it, hoping that something would develop, you know, but we don't have any plans for development at this time.
Do you have any vision of what you want this to be?
Well, if that corner lot goes commercial, it would be beneficial to be commercial, or if the apartments or whatever, the high density in the back, I don't know how much frontage they have, but I'm just here to see what the tax implications and see what, you know, what everything was talking about in this meeting. I got a notice, so I thought I'd come down here and just see what it was about.
Okay. Adam, tell me again, there's 3 properties here. This is the one, which one is this again?
He's property number 4. This is the
Right.
property south of Dry Creek. Here's Dickerson Road, right across the street from the one-story apartments. That's them there.
Okay. And this says the TVA line's running across it, right?
There's easements in this area, and I think, yeah, and then it's got the floodplain in the back, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, hold on, sir.
Yes, sir, we have a question for you.
This is just a question, just trying to see what direction maybe even you guys as owners would want to go. Maybe something myself as a city. Would you like to market it more toward commercial?
Well, if the corner lot coming off of Dickerson to Dry Creek that's adjacent to that lot is already zoned commercial, I think it would be beneficial if that was zoned commercial as well.
Okay. Is this property being marketed at all as of right now? Is it on the MLS?
No, we're just you know.
I mean, I
had
know
it
the
for
property's
years.
been there for years. I just didn't know if it was on the MLS to be sold or marketed toward.
I've had some calls on it, yes.
Okay.
And I just told them that there was a possible zoning change, or I would have more information on what it was zoned after this meeting.
Okay.
So I was just, you know, pushing them back till I knew something after this meeting. Mr. Tannen, I talked to him, and he just said that, you know, for me to come down here and then I could talk to him. He really didn't, you know, have any one way or the other.
Would the calls that you've received, any idea what they're wanting to do with the property?
I didn't know what to price it at. They were just interested in talking to me about it, but
Okay.
I didn't have you know, a realistic price. I did have it, when my dad passed away 3.5 years ago, we did have it appraised for our half, my family's half, not Mr. Tennant's. But that was 3.5 years ago, and they really didn't have a whole lot to go by.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
If your property was zoned, the front part was zoned commercial, what happens to the back part? Or maybe
If
that's a
it's zoned
question for
commercial,
Adam.
I think his was part of the high density right now, right, Adam?
Sorry?
I think their part is high density still right now, right, residential?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just,
I think if you were going to do commercial, I'd do the whole property.
yeah,
Because unfortunately, the back, you're not gonna be able to do much of that floodway anyways.
yeah, I totally agree.
The corner's already commercial.
Yeah, and it would just,
Yeah,
it would make it big enough for somebody to put a business on it if it was zone commercial.
especially on the main thoroughfare.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other owners of the property here?
No.
Okay.
I think this,
Okay, you're actually not an owner of the property. Okay, got you.
We got another one back here.
You want to come up front? Well, neither can I, so we're matched. So, your name, what property do you own?
I think you have it 5 Dry Creek Road, there you go.
The 31 acres?
Yes.
And your name?
Say it again.
What's your name?
Donovan Grant.
Okay. This is across the street from the previous property, is that correct?
This is back on Dry Creek, on down, like toward Old Dickerson. This is at the corner of Dry Creek and Old Dickerson here. The last one's on Dickerson. Sorry, it's a little confusing.
Okay.
This is the property that was part of the Dry Creek Farms original master plan for 72 condos and 6 homes. And this is the one they talked about possibly doing a medium density. You talk about possibly doing a medium density instead?
Yes. Yeah. So I don't really have any opinion other than, you know, I think we have enough apartments. So that's kind of my view. high density, you know. In that area, there's a lot of high density that we have, so, but I'm really for whatever the city and the community's for, whatever that might be. Single-family homes, that property's got some hill to it. It backs up to Echo Hills, and then across the street there, I think they're building, across from Old Dickerson, they're building three homes on, but it's a different county there. So, but as far as on the, I guess it'd be the south side of the property there, which is Echo Hills, the remainder of the circle, that one is, I think there's quarter-acre lots, I believe is what those are. And then there's some talks about maybe adding it to that subdivision, Echo Hills. But like I said, I'm all right with whatever y'all decide, I'm good with. But at least medium density would probably be better for me.
Okay. Is this the property next to Dollar General?
No, that's the next.
This is-
It share, it's right in front of it. That's the one next to Dollar General.
Okay,
And his property is right behind this.
gotcha,
He backs up to it, so.
gotcha.
Now, is that where the apartments are going in right
That's
there?
the plan, yeah.
Okay.
But it's one of the ones we're talking about tonight also. So.
Those are already approved in?
Yeah, they were approved back in '22, but we're talking about that property too, about possibly rezoning it.
I got you.
Mr. Donovan, so have you had any home builders come to you and talk to you about that
Oh, my
property?
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all the time, but everybody wants, they want high density. One, because the way that the land is, you know, you can build more units on less, but because it's got a grade to it, pretty good grade. But, you know, if it was combined with the 28 acres, which is the rest of Echo Hills, there's a land developer looking at it right now, and they want to develop both of those. That'd be, I think it's close to 60 acres or something, but anyway, but yes.
So are you talking about phase 2 of Echo Hills?
5 and 6.
Okay,
That's correct.
okay. All right.
Yeah, I think it's phase 2 and phase 3 or.
5 and 6, yeah.
Oh, 5 and 6. I
Yeah,
got you.
61 house lots. We extended the plan. It's the 60, it was based on the Echo Hills, a couple years ago, we approved phase 5 and 6. It's 61 lots, basically filling in those, let me go to a better slide. Basically filling in the remainder of the project. We approved it, it's based on a 1989 master plan. That zoning goes that far back. And we've approved plans, and we extended the approval because the city kind of wanted to see homes built there consistent with what the actual HOA was requesting. So it's kind of in a stage now. They have to update the plans due to our new stormwater requirements, but right now Echo Hills is for 61 more homes. So the talk is possibly combining that with this, but that would require, you know, them rezoning also. But this property highlighted is still zoned high density, so.
I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to take one property at a time
Okay.
and have any discussion on that. And then at the end of all the discussions, then we'll go back and recommend a zoning
Okay.
for each property.
All right.
So let's start off with property number 1. This is that sliver piece of property runs right beside I-65. I about ruined my new truck going down it yesterday.
It's rough back there, yeah.
So I heard a big screeching noise. I said, oh, man. But it survived. It is a terrible, I don't see how they can build anything on it myself. but-
It's gonna be hard to build much of anything, you're right. It's limited, it's narrow, it's got easements all over it. You don't have good frontage, so yeah, it's limited.
But I can't imagine anything going on there, but
If they could somehow get it's got easements to cobblestone, but maybe working with cobblestone and get access, improve through there, been building out that drive, You could do more with it then, yeah.
Now, I was thinking the same thing, because that's how I exited that road. It went right into cobblestone.
But it's all, cobblestone's all private, so they have to work through them to, use
Right.
that for more than just what it is now, so.
But, yeah, I doubt you get two lanes of traffic on that and have anything left to build on.
It'd require building up some access. Unfortunately, where it comes out on Altaloma is not great visibility, so it'd require rebuilding that, so there's a lot of limitations to it, but it's still, I mean, the way property gets more and more valuable, I could, possibly that kind of thing kind of work themselves out over time, but.
And as far as, Mr. Chairman, connecting that somewhat to cobblestone, we've had two different entries before, applicants before, and the neighborhood came in opposition to that. So I don't know if that would change anything in the future.
Yeah, I think that was on somebody's wanting to put a commercial.
A commercial, and there was also
Like a storage unit or
On
something
a
like
lot
that.
below
on
it
that
there,
property.
yeah. There's
and
a
there wasn't
3 acre
also
tract
wanting
below
to
it.
build some duplexes, some brick homes or something there too, yeah, so.
But most of the cobblestone was about the commercial, yeah.
Okay. Any other comments on property number 1? Let's go to property number 2. This is West Monticello. That's at the very edge of the city limits, runs right beside the railroad tracks. There are, when I was driving through there yesterday, you go past, I don't know if the mobile home park is in Goodlettsville.
Across the street from it, yeah.
Is that in Goodlettsville? Is that?
No, that's the metro, so south of West Monticello is out of our city limits in that location.
Okay.
You go a
So,
little further west, but.
Right next door to it is a house that looks vacant to me, and then there's some ranch-style houses on the other side of the street going up West Monticello to Monticello. Now, you indicated that you thought high density was maybe the best use of this property?
The property's limited. As you see the homes they built along West Monticello, there's no way to build a road through here other than just a simple, so you're not gonna be able to build R-15 lots like around it would be. So it's gonna take something more cluster style, to get the best use of the property. This just has limited road frontage, so it's hard to do. If you build a cul-de-sac, it's really not wide enough to really build a true cul-de-sac and do lots on both sides. It's like I said, the high density is the best to get something small. It's not gonna be a big project, but something, I've talked to some developers about this, and I told them ideally we'd do single-family homes. Well, even high density, you can do single-family homes, because the one we just saw on Dry Creek, I was showing you, it's a neighborhood in its own high density. It's just a limited, do the width. Of course, you can't go across the track, so. The city, years ago, a lot of these properties, they use the plan unit development, like we saw with the Springfield Highway, as a base zone district without really a master plan. They just felt like that was the best zone district for the area, and that's the case here. They've zoned it high density. Probably since the Thomas Jefferson area townhomes were high density, that's probably, as you can see, it's right above it. That's probably why it was continued with that, so. I wouldn't be surprised, I don't know facts, but I wouldn't be surprised they weren't rezoned at a similar time. You can see how old those older units those are, so.
Okay, property number 4.
Or 3.
This is the, I'm sorry, did I skip 3? Okay, property number 3, the 5.9 acres.
You can see the stream on there's a stream that comes across here. As we saw with the Rose Hill, there's gonna be buffer issues. The floodplain's limited, it's kind of at the front, but this property will be a challenging to develop also. So it really would need something kind of cluster it, you know, in the buildable areas of it. You got R25 behind you. This is high-density planned new development. The little neighborhood community there is, like I said, it's high density. You got the one-level apartments, I think it's Drake Point or something now. The commercial on the corner, the church, townhouses across, and you got commercial here on the corner, so.
You said it's high density to the right?
Yes, that community there, yeah.
Aren't those single-family homes?
Yes. Yeah, it's still high density. Windsor Green's high density also. It's
Okay.
single-family homes. It's about the number of units per acre. Anything over 3 is considered high density, 3 to 7 units.
So if you put up high-density zoning, maintain that, and somebody want to come up and put apartments, they could do that, is that correct?
They'd have to have a plan approved, of course, but, because the River Acres plan on it, it's older. You know, it's so old, I didn't even really thought it was worth looking at, because everything's changed so much out there, so. Yeah, but we got, outside of our main corridors, which would be this area, high density 7 units an acre. And you can do, you know, attached units, apartments, or they can do single family detached, like 2-family detached. So high density allows the most variety of residential units. You just can't go over that 7 units an acre.
Could we specify if it was zoned R15 as for single-family homes only?
Well, R15 would be for single family, yeah.
Is that what it is now?
It's on high density now,
Okay.
planning development.
But we could have the option to change it to R15.
Well, that's what we talk about,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
The only tricky part, we gotta be careful is that spot zoning does kind of work 2 ways. You know, like, we always hear that spot zoning, and spot zoning is a judicial decision. It's not like in the Tennessee law, spot zoning equals this. But, you know, the question be on this one, if it's got high density on 3 sides of it, and we zoned it to a lower density. So that'd be something to think about here. That's why, I mean, the reason I recommend some of these high density were kind of that reason, but yeah, if this board feels like more low density would be warranted, that's something we could look at, but.
I think what people, you know, when you say high density, all of a sudden they start thinking about apartment complex. You know, high density single family homes or high density, you know, townhomes. You know, to me, that's a different scenario than
If this property had more road frontage, I think you could, if it was zoned a medium or low density planned new development, you could possibly do more with it, but with the creeks and stuff, it's gonna be, even high density, it's gonna be hard to get a lot of units out of it, but this board could, if we feel like a different zone district, something we could look at.
Oh, we got the property number 4.
We could. We just don't have a master plan. That's the tricky part with it, like a current one. All right, property number 4, it's the one the gentleman talked about. It's across the street there. It's on the south end. There is commercial on the corner here. This property here, this is a vested right project. So definitely, I think the city could look at commercial there, if that's something, possibly expand that. Because it would be a break, I think, you know, to go further up in it, because you do have a community where people, you know, live. I mean, a lot of these people own these homes that lived in these homes for a while, how they would feel about possibly commercial getting in the area. But I think if you want to maintain it down by the corner as much as possible, so.
If we left it at high density on this property or any of the properties, they could, and if there's a commercial prospect, they could always
Yeah,
apply for new
definitely something
zoning,
like
I guess, so.
To rezone it back, yeah.
But your recommendation. Okay. Any other comments on property number 4? Let's go to property number 5, and this is the property that backs up to Echo Hills, is that correct?
That's correct, yes. Mr. Grant spoke about it, yeah.
And Mr. Donovan said he would just as soon have it medium density, is that correct?
Yeah, that's what was discussed. And I would think, kind of like we did with where Goodlettsville 56 is now, Moncrief. You know, it's on medium density, but they end up, you know, just due to the way the land is, they're nowhere close to the density they could do. They did like 100 homes, but on, which it could be almost 160. But I think this, if we did medium density, specify that it's for, like, single-family detached.
I think that's why I'm.
Because medium density allows 3 units an acre attached product, but I think the goal was for single family. I think we could put that in the ordinance, that it was intended just for the medium density but single family dwellings. They'd like to do 85 to 90 lots with a slope on it, just like Goodlettsville 56. That's probably not realistic, gonna happen, probably more in the, you know, 60 to 70 range, but it would, the intention would be just single family homes. But I think if you got an owner willing to do that, and I think that's kind of what the city commission was kind of hoping to see, maybe some possibly rezone. But this one, I definitely think with the surrounding property, you could maintain a high density because it's high density, you know, beside it, but a medium density for homes would not be inappropriate there, so.
Okay. Any questions, any comments on property number 5? And property number 6, the last property. This is one on Dixon Road where the Dollar General is that correct?
Yeah, just north of it, yes.
And it's going to back up to the property number 5.
That's correct, yeah.
And you don't think that this property could be a continuation on the medium density up there with commercial on front?
Medium density there in the back, with, it's 5 acres, that'd be about 15 units. They'd probably look at doing townhomes, but it would, you know, greatly reduce their number, of course, but, I mean, something the city could look at, but it's gonna have to be a private development, just the way the project is, because there's no real good road frontage, because they're maintaining the commercial frontage there, so.
Okay. Any questions on property number 6? Okay. We need to, I guess we can defer, we could recommend to the city commission what we think. And I think that what, maybe not unless somebody has a better idea, what we'll do is just take each property and make a motion for that particular property, what we would recommend to the city commission. Does that sound reasonable?
Mm-hmm. Then you could do one vote at the end, if you wanted to.
I'm sorry, what?
Then I don't see why we couldn't just do one vote at the end with those different motions.
Yeah, you can state your recommendations for each particular property in one vote. Okay, gotcha. All right, let's take property number 1. That's that sliver of property runs beside the interstate. What would y'all like to recommend to the city commission? Staff recommends keeping it high density.
I'll make a motion to go with staff recommendation.
Okay? We have a motion and a second. We'll hold off on the vote until the end. Is that right? Okay. We do have a motion and a second for high density. Any questions or comments before we move on to property number 2? West Monticello, that's the property at the very edge of the city limits, runs beside the railroad track. Staff recommends high density as well. That's going to be a hard property to sell and to build on. Recommendation from the board.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to do the staff approval.
We have a motion to keep this as high density. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Wheeler. Any questions or comments? We will hold on to that vote. We have property number 3. This is a 5.9 acres on Dry Creek Road. This is, runs, there's a high density on the right, which single from states this is gonna be a difficult property to do anything with but high density, is that correct?
Yeah, with the streams on it.
So
You're gonna need
staff-
something to cluster the units.
So staff recommends keeping this high density. Do I have a recommendation?
I'll make a motion to stick with staff recommendation again.
Mayor Tenen recommends, makes a motion to keep it at high density. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Barnesfield. Any questions or comments before we move on? Property number 4, this is the 2.5 acres across the street from property number 3. It is commercial to the left of it that fronts Dixon Road. I think there's comments from the owner that he could go either way, but if we keep it high density, he could come back at a later date to request commercial. Is that correct? Do I have staff recommends high density on this as well.
How would the commercial work at it? I know the corner's already.
Uh-huh. Let me pull up the zoning map here.
I'm going to abstain from this vote, just because even though it's not mine, but our last name is on the property. But I think Adam did make the comment that commercial is just as good as residential on this.
I think where it's at, you could make maybe the corner more, the corner is actually a good lot, it's just,
Not big
it's a
enough.
traffic signal, maybe make it big enough for a bigger commercial development, but you can see it's just that one right there, so.
If we were to make that corner, enlarge it to make it a larger commercial plat, what would we need, how would we need? to
We would
word
just
that?
include that commercial plan unit development
Okay.
at this point.
Mr. Chairman, Adam, what does that do to his tax base right now?
I don't think anything till they actually go to use it, the property.
No, just a change will not modify, will not trigger an assessment.
Okay.
Just, we just do that with commercial plan unit development, like the, something next to it. Yeah, next to it's commercial plan unit development, so if you want to do commercial, I would say we expand the commercial plan unit development on this one, so.
But that option would remain available, keeping it with high density.
Yes, yes, you can keep the high density also. It could be a later date, or you can do it right now, what y'all recommend the city commission, so.
Well, it'd be nice to see that, maybe a big piece of commercial there if possible, but,
I'm going to make that recommendation, that motion, Mr. Chairman, that we shift it to commercial.
A second.
all right, so we have a motion by Ms. Wheeler to change this property to commercial plan unit development, is that right? CPU?
Yeah, commercial plan unit development.
And then we have a second by Cisco. Any further comments? Property number 5 is at 31.05 acres on Dry Creek Road that backs up to Echo Hills. The owner, Mr. Donovan, has stated that he would like to see it medium density, to tie it into Echo Hills. Is that correct? Is that what I remember him saying?
There's a possibility of that, but I think just on his property, if he was open to the medium density, intended just for single-family homes, if he agreed with that, I think that.
This zoning to medium density?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion to change to medium density, and we have a second by Ms. Wheeler. Any further comments on this?
Mr. Chairman, also, that would be for single-family detached.
Do you concur with that, Ms. Wheeler?
Yeah, I'd put it in the ordinance that way.
Okay. And last but not least, property number 6. This is on Dixon Road. This is the property that that fronts the property on, that we just talked about, property number 5. It's the one right next to Dollar General. Staff is recommending keeping this high density due to the layout.
And just the
narrow
back
front
of it,
foot.
yeah, because the commercial is commercial, just the back of it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's already zoned commercial in front.
The front, yeah.
How much of the front is commercial, roughly?
If I remember, 400 or 500 feet. It was roughly 6.9 acres. We rezoned the back 5, so roughly 2 acres. And that was existing commercial zone. I think it was like 400 to 500 feet. We maintained that, so.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go with staff.
So you make a motion for property number 6 to remain high density.
Yes.
Second by Mr. Barnesfield. Any questions or comments? All right. Let's go over this one more time real quick, then we'll make a vote. Property number 1, there's a motion and second for high density to remain high densities. Property number 2, there is a motion and second to remain high density. Property number 3, there is a motion and second to remain high density. Property number 4 was a motion and second to change to CPU, Commercial Plan Unit Development. Property number 5, there's a motion and second to change this property to medium density, single family detached. And property number 6, there's a motion and second to keep this property zoned high density. Any questions or comments before we take it to a vote? All those in favor of changing or maintaining the properties as previously stated?
You may want to state about the front portion of that still remaining commercial, because
On number 6, yeah.
Okay.
Number 6, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was
Go
on
ahead.
this property to be maintained high density and the front part of the property to be maintained commercial.
That's correct.
Any questions or further comments before we take this to a vote?
Other than I'll be voting with everybody else, I'm going to abstain from item 4.
Gotcha. We're going to, Mayor,
Case, I think procedurally you could go vote number 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay, let's
5,
do that
6,
then.
because he will have to abstain on a particular property.
property number 1, those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Property number 1 remains high density. Property number 2, those in favor to remain high density say aye. Aye. Opposed? Property number 2 remains high density. Property number 3, motion was made to maintain high density. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Property number 3 remains high density. Property number 4, and Mayor Tenen is abstaining from this, to change this property to CPU. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Property number 5, there's to change this property to medium density, single-family detached homes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Property number 6, to maintain the back part of this property is high density and the front part to remain commercial. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. This will be, for those in the audience, this will be forwarded for, our recommendation will be forwarded to the City Commission for them to take it further. What's next on the,
All right, we're done with the regular agenda. It's just discussion item. Me hit a few points here.
I'm sorry?
I said we're done with the regular agenda. Just going to do a discussion item and then
Okay.
hit a few
All right.
points I wanted to show y'all. Right now, our fence definitions. We had an issue out on Altaloma Road. We require any in the front area of the house, any fence that's over 4 feet is supposed to be an open fence. We had a gentleman that owns the property, we got a violation issue, went to our appeals board actually to request an appeal based on the wording of our ordinance, because our ordinance doesn't define what closed or open means. So Board of Zone Appeals went around and they upheld the city's requirement. But one of our appeals board members the next morning submitted me some possible ordinance amendments to kind of help reduce that area. And that's what these are. I want to talk to, they prepared it, Mr. Stuart Huffman, used to be a city commissioner. He's the owner of Board of Zone Appeals. So he put all this together, researched it. And really what it boils down to, he's trying to define that whole, what's open versus closed. So he included some definitions, like define what a fence is. These are all new proposals. This would be a zoning ordinance amendment. Like I said, this is just discussion tonight and follow up with it. You can see the definition of fence, open fence, what that means, some examples. Then it gets into the whole deal of how open the fence is, the opacity, I guess how you pronounce that, the percentage of the fence that obscures views into the lot when viewed perpendicular to the fence. That'd be a minimum of 50%. They want to see it to be considered open. So these are the definitions, and also would be an amendment, 2 parts. As you go down our ordinance, are the ones in bold italics, where we would define an open style fence shall not exceed 50% opacity. So it had to be at least 50% open. That was really the question at the Board of Zone Appeals that night. We went around, in our ordinance, we felt it's just a straightforward fence ordinance, it wasn't detailed, but we went around, always people can read things different. I've noticed that, we can think it's pretty straightforward, but people are going to read into it differently. So this is the proposal Mr. Huffman made. It would kind of address that issue to define that a fence had to be open, it'd be minimum 50% open, basically. But I just wanted to kind of run that by you if there's any thoughts on it. But it'd be more kind of some deal we ran into. We don't have a lot of this come out. This was one of the first ones about the minimum definition of what open would be. I always tell people, in my opinion, open would be minimum 51%. If it's 51% open, then that's majority of it's open. So that's what I always try to tell people. Originally this fence was horizontal fence rails, slats, and they left out the middle one. If you've seen on 2 Mile Pike, Powell Building Group kind of did something similar. I told them I like that look, consider that an open look. It allows like a fence, but still doesn't blockade from the street. But the original fence that was installed on Atalama, wind damage, they rebuilt it. It's a nice looking fence they put back, and it's more of a solid type fence. But it's 6 foot. If it would have been 4 foot, it would have been fine. But I just want to get your all thoughts. Just kind of help address those issues we were having. Anything stands out or anything? All right, a couple staff approvals just to let you all know about. On the left there, Cedar Side at Dry Creek item, the first item we talked about tonight, the townhomes community is 55 units. Unfortunately, due to some issues of buffering, they're going to have to lose one lot, so they go down to 54. The Planning Commission approved that subdivision plat for 55, and they were wanting to see if I could just staff approval to drop it down to 54. So I wanted to pass it by you guys, make sure that'd be no issue for you guys. I said, I'll put it in the minutes if that seems something. Unfortunately, they were looking to kind of move it somewhere else, but they weren't able to do that. So on the left, they would just be losing that. And on the far, it's this lot right here when you look at the whole thing.
So you just need us to say it's okay?
I generally get the feeling, I know we're not voting, if you all feel, shake your head, if you feel it'd be okay for me, just tell them, we'll handle that administratively.
Any problem with just leaving this up to staff?
All right, out on Long Haul Pike, Willis Branch and Long Haul, this was a piece of property maybe a year and a half ago. They cut it from 1 lot into 2, and he's came back and cut another one off as another 2 lot. The reason this property is able to do this, it has road frontage on 2 sides. So they're able to get easements and then the width of the property. This property was never part of a subdivision, so it was just a deeded property. We try to limit properties being re-subdivided, but it's zoned R40, so he's able to get a second lot for another buildable home there. They're working on the house. Unfortunately, it's taking longer than we'd hope, but the one they moved in from, the one we talked about, it's going to be on the middle lot here when they get it fully set. They've ran into a lot of rock with the foundation work. Mr. Barnfield questioned me about the America Best Value Hotel. They're doing, Mr. Dean Patel's doing a lot of uplifts. They've got all the units on the front there. In the back, they're working on new drywall, new fixtures. And they want to do some, change the name to it, the Atlas Hotel. So we're working through them with the sign. But this is kind of what they're wanting to go back with. They're having to incorporate more brick. I met with them. This was going to be like covering the existing brick, so we kind of incorporate some different designs into it. But they are going to include brick. I talked with Mr. Patel about that. But this is kind of generally what it is. The Planning Commission I didn't bring it to you all because it was more, they didn't really change the use of it or redo. They were just remodeling the spaces. But hopefully it will turn out successful. But they are completely gutting those units.
Where's this now?
America's Best Value.
Oh, okay.
You can see they're doing the work up there now. And that's all I got, so.
Adam, one question there. I noticed it doesn't appear that's enter the rooms from an inner hallway, but yet they're using the term hotel. Do we define hotel, motel?
We do by our zoning, yeah.
Would this meet the definition of hotel?
I mean, they can choose, it meets our definition of a motel. Of course, they can name it, whatever they choose to name it, but our zoning ordinance definition is a motel.
Okay.
Because you're right, it has exterior doors on it, so.
Any other questions or comments? Adam, we're going to miss you.
Thank you.
You've done a fine job these, you said, 6 or 7 years this last time, right?
Yeah, it'll be almost 7 years, yeah. You'll still see me because the area I'm going to work for, the state, will cover Goodlettsville, of course, all Middle Tennessee. So hoping to do some planning commission training, appeals board training to be helpful for you guys. And like I said, I'm general assistance on any kind of planning questions. Whoever, the staff here now, Tim, you guys can continue to call me, because that's going to be my job, talking to all the cities and counties in Middle Tennessee on planning-related matters, so.
Those in the audience, Adam's been with the city now, this last time for 7 years. He's done a fine job, and he's always available for us to ask questions. I called him last week on all these properties and grilled him on that, so I appreciate that. So, good luck to you.
I'll still be in the area, but I really do appreciate it. And like I told Tim, I wasn't looking for a job. This came up as a great opportunity, really kind of the end of my career, I feel like, next couple of years here. Something to do really different. May put all my experience to be helpful to these other cities and counties, so. Do what? Hey, I never say never. I've learned that, so I do appreciate it. So.
Mr. Chairman, may I say to him, I had to tell him goodbye the last time he left. And I got really aggravated with him for leaving. But I got over it because he came back. So I told him tonight, I am really aggravated again. I'm happy for you and your wife. I'm especially happy for your wife. Maybe she'll get to do some things that she's been wanting to do. But yeah, I'm really aggravated with you again because we depend on you absolutely, completely for what you do for us. Gonna miss you.
Well, thank you very much. I've enjoyed working here. I really have.
And I can speak with, this has happened to me. You don't want her aggravated with you.
No.
So, anyway.
It would be better than just be like, thank goodness you're leaving. I guess that's a better than.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I say one thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Adam and I have worked together probably close to 30 years now, on and off between here and White House. He's a great friend, great confidant, and he knows what my preference is, but I also know that he can't turn this job down. I was actually with 2 of his bosses today, so I do hope for this board to hopefully have maybe an interim in his position, and I do think he may come back next month to make sure we don't mess it up. But Adam, I can't say how much I appreciate you. You taught me more about zoning and codes than I even knew was possible. I appreciate it.
Thank you. When I get my new one, I'll get to you, so. No, can't take